everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of the College Football Tailgate Conference Preview Special Edition. As always, it's me, XFL Jim. Today we are joined by none other than Chase, Lupine Fiasco, Sessoms, a.k.a. the Wolf of Oaklawn, a.k.a. the nephew of Chico Dusty. What is up, my man?
Nothing much. I'll tell you what, that StreamYard countdown, like the kick drum there, like that thing gets me going. It's like listening to like Radar Love or something, you know, on the stereo.
It gets your juices ready to like just talk and bullshit, which is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to do a lot of bullshit because, as you may have noticed, we are missing one key member of the College Football Tailgate. I would say the smartest member by far.
Easily the sharpest. Easily the sharpest. I mean, we might be able to take him down in like a spelling test or like an algebra quiz. I mean, they would still probably be a dogfight, but yeah, easily the sharpest member of the group.
Uncle Rico is not here. He is missing. I mean, it's just the Big Ten and SEC. Do they really matter?
I think once you get past the Rockies and you stop having Mountain West teams, that's where football stops.
I think it's really football can just be the Mountain West, the MAC, and the Sun Belt, and I'd be happy.
I'd be totally cool with it if you only gave me those three options. Yeah. Crazy doesn't happen in other places.
So today we are previewing the Big Ten. This conference has got a lot going on. Basically, there's just three things going on. There's really just Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State.
Yeah, that's essentially it. I don't know. I think there are teams that I would want to put like a conference future on from the West, but that's because I like having sweat-free championship games.
Well, that's the thing. Like this is the last year of the West. There is one of these teams in the West is going to make the championship game, and you're going to get decent odds on all of them. So, like, just flat out the bat, Wisconsin is the favorite out of the West to like win the conference, and they're plus 750 still.
I'm more interested in Iowa, honestly.
Hey, we'll get to them. They're 11-1, but like if you want a team that's going to make the championship game, they just need to win one game, get one upset against one of the probable big three. You could get worse odds. So we're starting with the West, which is easily the worst of the two divisions, but in my opinion, it's the more entertaining because of how chaotic it can be. And none of these teams, except maybe this year Northwestern, is that far away from all of them. Even on the best years, these teams are winning like super close games.
I think you're forgetting that teams tend to rally around the interim, and I'm all over that Northwestern future. I'm kidding. I'm lying. That's dumb.
Maybe Skip Holtz is bringing the Birmingham Stallions winning mentality to Evanston.
Did Skip Holtz get hired at? Wait,
he's helping. He's
oh, that's staff. Yes,
that's right.
He's like He's a consultant. That's right.
Yeah, he's just helping because the guy has zero head. I think. He got hired on, this February as a DC, and just here's the team. Here you go.
By the way, I'm just going to say this as a quick foray into our other interests of the spring football. But did you see that Brandon Aubrey was the only kicker on the Cowboys roster?
Yes, I did.
That's awesome.
So long, Brett Maher. Love it. Love to see it. Okay, Chase, you ready to start this bad boy up? We're going to go alphabetical order. We're starting with the West, which means we are starting with the Fighting Birds of Illinois, the Fighting Illini. The win total is set at a 6.5 point juiciness. It's minus 115 both ways. This is the Big Ten West. Conference odds, 33-1 plus 3,300s. And I, especially for these last two, I did a little extra homework. I got division odds. Illinois is plus 600 to win the Big Ten West. There's like three things with Illinois that I think. A, can Altmaier replace Tommy DeVito and be as good of a quarterback?
Yeah.
B, what's the running back situation going to be like this year at Illinois? And D, I skipped over C, but D, can the defense repeat or possibly improve after losing the defensive coordinator?
My question is, bigger question for them is legally, how many offensive linemen can they put on the field / the line at one?
All of them.
All of them.
I feel like with the way Wisconsin is going to be trending, I think Burt is going to try and make Illinois the old school Wisconsin.
Yeah, where they have 8 offensive linemen. They got tight ends with their hands in the ground, and they just run the football. Hey, man, here's the deal. It works sometimes. Also, here's the other deal. I want no part of a Burt team that has expectations.
6.5 points. They are, if you go by just looking at the odds, they're tied for 3rd.
Right.
So it's did they win? No, Purdue won it. I mean, every team felt like they were in the talks for the Big Ten West last year. I suspect Illinois will be in the talks again. I'm going to spoil alert. I'm actually taking them to win the division at plus 600. Don't hate it. Don't hate it at all.
I'll be honest. I hate it. I've lived through Burt teams that have expectations that surprise, and then you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, Burt's got him rolling. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. That's the thing. Also, all right, but to be fair, at the time, Burt was also going through a lot of changes in his life. He had his first kid. That's hard to do. It's hard to, especially when you're a coach, like, and have to work a ton. Like, it's hard to get your mind right after you have your first kid.
I also just feel like a man like Burt doesn't belong in the South.
If you want to try to Google this, to me, he looks like old Butthead from Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, yeah.
And to his credit, his wife is a smoke show.
Oh,
absolute smoke show.
Yes.
But I'll let you rip through
Let's get into the schedule, baby. Illinois starts off. They get Toledo.
I have seen this story far too many times. Burt losing to a group of 5 team in the opener in a year where they have expectations. Give me fucking Toledo.
I'm also going to go with Toledo, but here's it. So their first 3 is Toledo, at Kansas, and then Penn State at home. I'm going to say they go 1-2.
I'm going to say 1 and 2. I'm going to give
I don't know which one they get.
Yeah,
I don't know which one they get, but they're going to get one of these teams.
I think they, even though it's at Kansas, I think they get Kansas because I think their size sometimes just rules college football, and they're way bigger than this Kansas team.
He might just be able to Burt ball it.
Yeah, they're also way slower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna get one.
Honestly, I'm gonna go 0-3 there.
I'm gonna go 1-2. I think it. My heart is telling me it might be Penn State in like a James Franklin special disappointment game.
Yeah, and this, I mean, it would be a good, and that's enough to set up a Burtoning where you think Illinois has hope for the remainder of the season.
And here we go. FAU at Purdue and then Nebraska.
I'm gonna go 2-1 there, actually. So I've got them 2-4 now.
2-4. I'm gonna go 2-1 here as well. I got them at. We'll figure that out at the end. Whatever. Then it's at Maryland and Wisconsin at home for homecoming.
Dumb. Just gonna have a terrible dance that weekend. I'll give them the win at Maryland because it is the month of October, though I want to give them the win for Wisconsin to set up the Burtoning, but I don't think that they will.
So I have the opposite take there. I have them losing to Maryland and beating Wisconsin because I feel like Wisconsin, people are like, they have a lot of talent. They're going to be good. They have an improvement at quarterback. But I think people are really discrediting, like, losing Jim Leonard's going to be big. Speaking of which, he's at Illinois. Helping out.
That Maryland game is quite the trap game, isn't it?
It is.
Right before Wisconsin.
In between Nebraska and Wisconsin, like, right, 2, like, division teams that potentially could be in the thick of it.
And one of which where you had the head coach at previously. I'm going to say
1-1, but...
Yeah, I'm going to say 1-1, but I don't know which one is the one.
Yeah, I'm right there. Off the bye week, it's at Minnesota, Indiana, at Iowa, and then Northwestern to cap it off.
I'll go Loss at Minnesota, win at Indiana, loss at Iowa, which is another Burt Bowl, and win at Northwestern.
I also have them going 2-2 in that stretch. So what do you have the Illinois Fighting Birds at as a win-wise?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.
I got them at 6. I got them right at 6. The win total is 6.5. I'm going to take a shot because if this team forms above expectations at all, I'm not going to touch the win total at 6.5, but I am going to take a shot at them to win the division. Because, if this team does perform just a little bit above, I know it's Burt, they might not. Their schedule kind of works out where, after Penn State, they might only lose, 1 or 2 more games.
They definitely got a favor whenever the Big Ten did their scheduling for the season because they just get one of the Eastern monsters in that. And they get them early. So it's not like, they get them when they're fresh. I still don't think there's any way that they win it. That's going to be an emotionally charged game with Wisconsin. The thing is, I don't think that Champaign, Illinois gets all that crunk at all. No, I actually, this is one that I will play is the under at a meat potatoes -115 because I could easily see them fall 5-7, 4-8.
I could too, but I could also somehow see them at 8-4 and 7-5, and I don't. It's the Big Ten West. Who fucking knows? They could even still be alive for the Big Ten West at 6 wins somehow.
True.
Up next, Chase, we have the Iowa Hawkeyes. Win total is set at 8. They are 11-1, plus 1,100 to win the conference, plus 250 to win the division. My main thing for Iowa, the QB upgrade. I mean, you go from Spencer Petras to Cade McNamara. It's hard not to see this team improving.
Yeah. Can you imagine how frustrating it had to have been to be a skill position ball catching player last year at Iowa? How
frustrating would it be to be the defense?
Yeah, the defense who literally won games and kept them relevant last year. The fact that Cade McNamara is the key of it to me, and I think they're primed to make a run because that defense is.
It's still going to be really, really good.
Yeah,
they're fucking scary, and this is basically hey, you got the quarterback upgrade, Brian Ferentz. What are you gonna do? You gonna keep your job this year, bud?
I have this feeling that Cade McNamara caught on to the passing concept in 15 minutes because it's pretty basic bitch, but
it's pretty meat and potatoes in Iowa.
Yep.
Let's get into the schedule. Starting off, Utah State at Iowa State, and then Western Michigan comes to town.
I'd love to give the Western Mich win, but I think that they start off 3-0.
Objectively, if we're taking off our gymnasium glasses here, Chase, they do start 3-0 in my opinion. I think they El Asico is going to be. I mean, it's always a crazy close game, so I'll probably take Iowa State in the points in that game, but they're starting 3-0. At Penn State, Michigan State, and then Purdue.
I'm gonna go 2-1 there. I don't think that they've got the offensive firepower to beat the Penn State defense, but also their defense is good enough. I think that's a take the under game, quite honestly. But I don't think that them going into Beaver Stadium, into Happy Valley is a recipe for a win. It's their first road test. It just has loss written all over it. So I'll go 2-1.
I'm also going to go 2-1 here with a loss to Penn State. If you want the Iowa magic, you want a game like this later in the season.
Yeah.
And then it's at Wisconsin and then Minnesota before the bye week. I got 2-0 there.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 as well. I'm not sold on Wisconsin, especially as a number 19 team. Also, it's the first year. I'd hate to be a first-year coach trying to get everything driving and then have to, on offense, and then have to face that very well organized, very well coached defense.
Yes. after the bye week. They call it the Wildcats Classic here on FBS schedule. So they play Northwestern in Wrigley Field, baby. And then it's Rutgers, Illinois, and finishing off the season at Nebraska.
I hate to do it, Jim.
They're going to lose one in that stretch.
I don't think they do.
I think they do, and I think it's. I think they lose. They might not. I think. I mean, best case scenario, I feel we're saying 11-1.
Yeah, 11-1, 10-2.
This is one of those years for Iowa. Like this, you see it for Iowa on the calendar is when they get like a serviceable to good quarterback. They have the defense. They have some good skilled players.
Yeah,
they can run this division. Iowa's like they're the they're the best coach. They're like the most consistently coached team. Their defense is stacked. I think they're going to go 10-2. I think they lose one of the last four. I don't know who. It would be very Iowa to lose to Northwestern in like a very stupid game.
True. This is true.
So I'm going to say Iowa goes 10-2. I would like the over, but it's -145. I didn't mention that earlier because I'm bad at my job. But it's the over 8 was -145. The under was +115.
Yeah, it's a don't touch, but I do think that they are touchable in division and conference futures.
So I'm not going to take the division future because it's just +250, but I will take the conference future at 11-1 because I think like if they make it, I don't know, man. Any given game, shit. Like I feel like the two scenarios with this is they could play decent against Michigan. But they didn't have an offense to do anything against Michigan.
True. That's the deal. And if they play Penn State again, they've got the rematch factor. You've got the James Franklin factor.
If they played Ohio State, I think Ohio State would roll them in the championship game, though.
Let's see how an Ohio State quarterback does under pressure if they can get it.
Yeah, I agree. But I feel like if they make it to the championship game, I don't know. Like I've seen it before, where like these hyped up teams of like Wisconsin and Iowa get to the championship game, and like they played Ohio State closer earlier in the year, then they play them again and just get rolled. It's just
they play and then they play them close for the first like 8 to 9 minutes, and then breaks open. Yeah,
I do like them at 11-1 to win. I think they're buying away the most well-rounded team in the West. And if you can find a book out there that offers like win totals number for Iowa at like 9, even 9.5, I would take the over there because you're probably getting plus money.
All right.
Up next, the Fighting PJ Flex. It's Minnesota Chase. The win total is set at 7, -115 both ways. They are plus 3,300 to win the conference, plus 600 to win the division, same as Illinois. Rowing the boat. They have maybe the best receiver in the division with Ottman Bell. He's so goddamn good, and I always trust PJ Fleck to be able to coach receivers. What's my biggest thing with Minnesota is what's the offensive line going to look like this year? You're losing a lot. You lose Tanner Morgan. You lose Muhammad Ibrahim. You lose like some just seniority on this team.
Yeah, and you're going to go against some talented defensive fronts. For me, the question is part of that, which is what's going to happen to the run game. Yep. That's the big question. Without a functional run game, if their quarterback is dropping back and throwing it 30, 40 times a game, they're going to have a bad season.
Yeah, you can kind of just see how Minnesota's season is going to go by how many pass attempts their old boy's going to have there.
Yeah.
We're going to know a lot right off the bat. Nebraska, Eastern Michigan, at North Carolina.
I'm gonna go 2-1, but I think the 2 might be Eastern Michigan in an upset at North Carolina.
I'm gonna go 2-1 as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Nebraska. Honestly, Nebraska to me, and we'll get to them next. They are probably the most unknown, in my opinion, in the entire division, just based on the entire turnover of not just the staff, but also a lot of the players.
The Matt Rule of it?
The Matt Rule of it is going to be crazy. But Minnesota, I think they're going to be consistent. I'm excited to see how they look against North Carolina. I'm excited to see how they play against a team that's getting the kind of hype that North Carolina is getting.
Yeah.
Also, I could very easily see them losing to like Eastern Michigan out of the blue because Minnesota, if you remember, they lost to Bowling Green not too long ago.
It's true. That is true.
So who knows? Yeah. I got them 2-1 out the stretch at Northwestern, Louisiana, and then they get Michigan at home.
I'm gonna go 2-1 there also. So I got them sitting at 4-2.
I got them 2-1 there as well. We're both sitting at 4-2 here. Off the bye week, it's at Iowa, and then Michigan State and Illinois. I got them 1-2 there.
Yeah, 1-2 with the win at Michigan State.
Mm-hmm. Finish off the season at Purdue, at Ohio State, and Wisconsin. I only got to beat in Purdue there.
Same.
Sucks for Minnesota that you draw both Ohio State and Michigan.
Right.
That's brutal. But
I got them sitting right at 6 wins. That's another meat. I mean, the total's at 7. That's another meat and potatoes minus 115 that I wouldn't mind having in my pocket.
I got them at 6 as well. I feel like you might see a lot of 6-6 teams in the Big Ten West this year. It would not surprise me in the slightest. I might. You know what, Chase? I'm going to co-sign the under 7. I'll co-sign. I mean, PJ Fleck has like done some decent work in his time.
Yeah.
If I
no
had
hook.
so,
that's the big thing. Is no hook.
It's nice. It's real nice. So at the 2 teams sitting at 6-1 to win the West, do you like Minnesota or Illinois more?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
There's 2 teams sitting at plus 600 to win the Big Ten West. Minnesota and Illinois. Which one of those 2 do you like more?
Minnesota, hands down.
Okay.
Minnesota, even probably with more question marks, and that's just literally how little I think of a Burt team with expectations.
That's your heart talk. That's history.
That's history talking. Yeah.
Okay. Up next, my Nebraska Cornhuskers with a win total set at 6.5. It is plus 120 on the over, minus 150 on the under. They are plus 5,000 to win the conference, plus 1,400 to win the division. Chase, all I wrote down in my notes for Nebraska was question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't fucking know, okay? There's a lot of turnover. New quarterback, but he looks good. He's a dual threat. He looked good at Georgia Tech. The tight end we got out of Georgia, if he plays to his potential, he's one of the best tight ends in the country, but who knows about that? He's been at 4 different colleges.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Defense, I think, is going to take a step back, but I just don't know. I don't know about this team. The only thing I do know is I expect our special teams to be better because our special teams have been like the worst special teams I've seen in the entirety of college football for the last like 3 or 4 years.
Anytime shoe met ball, it was a goddamn adventure. Here's the deal. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, and the reason for it is I've seen what Matt Rule can do on a short turnaround with a team. I feel like the transfer portal is even more
I think it's beneficial to someone like him.
Yeah, and it's even more prominent than it was like whenever it first started, right whenever he left college football. Like it's a bigger deal. It's gotten to be a bigger deal every single year. And also now he has NIL at his disposal. And someone who knows how to work a transfer portal and knows how to work NIL, which him being a professional football coach, even though it wasn't that successful, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, I think you're going to see a turned around, modernized, run and gun kind of Nebraska team. And I think it's going to be pretty good.
And Nebraska did go crazy in the transfer portal, both like players exiting and players coming in. Most recently, we did lose Xavier Betts, who was poised to be probably our second best receiver. He just quit football, wasn't feeling it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just I feel like every game, aside from like 2, maybe 3, are 50-50 games. So that's my issue. That's my issue with this. That's my issue with the number 6.5. Let's just get into it. At Minnesota to start the season.
I'll give them the dub. Why not?
I got them losing. A close one. I don't know. I'm trying to not drink the Kool-Aid right now. I know by the time this game is going, these games are happening, Chase, in 2 weeks. And I guarantee you, when that happens, like this time, 2 weeks from now, I'm going to be drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm going to say Nebraska's going to go 12-0. But I'm trying to hold it back right now.
Jim, I'm looking at their schedule, and I can honestly see, I feel like I could say 7-0, 6-1 to start.
So it's at Minnesota, at Colorado, Northern Illinois, Louisiana Tech. So I have them losing one out of all this stretch.
I'm going to go 4-0.
So they're 4-0 going, hosting Michigan. September 30th. They host the Wolverines. I got them losing that one.
You know what? No Jim Harbaugh.
So, do we know how many games he's out?
Not yet.
He was going to come back for this game. Like, this was the game he was getting back.
Still, if he's back, this is a prime Jim Harbaugh only does the most embarrassing thing spot. I'll go 5-0 to start.
I'm going to go 3-2, and then it's at Illinois after Michigan.
I think that this could be a letdown spot for Burtoning.
I was going to say, if they beat Michigan, no shot.
Yeah.
Are they beating Illinois?
5-1.
I also have them losing this game, though. So I only have them beating 3 before the bye week. Off the bye week, they get Northwestern at home. That's a win.
I think the next 3 are wins.
Northwestern, Purdue, at Michigan State. I also have all 3 of those as wins.
Yep.
They're going to be fucking butthole. I already know that I'm going to be clenching my butthole for every one of them, but I got 3 wins. And then it's Maryland, at Wisconsin, and Iowa. I got them going 0-3.
I have them 0-3 to finish it out too. I think you catch Maryland, especially if they're 7-1, 7-1 at that point, and they go into Maryland. Like then they're that's a trap game leading into a game at Wisconsin.
Well, Maryland is coming to Lincoln.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Though.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, then you get Iowa with probably
the revenge spot.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I say 0-3.
Yeah, so I got Nebraska sitting at a cool 6-6.
Jim, I might have them at 9-3.
Oh, dude, I would kill for 9-3.
And I'm gonna play the over 6.5. That's one I
plus
just played.
120 plus money.
Plus 120.
I'm gonna play it. This is my heart saying I'm gonna play it. I'm sitting at 6. I feel good about 6. I feel pretty good about making a bowl. I'm going to hit it. And who knows, I might even dabble. Like, the Big Ten West is so wild, I might dabble with the division. You never know with any of these teams. 14-1, I might dabble. I might dabble. Like, who knows about Wisconsin? Up next, Chase, it's Northwestern. Their win total, when I got it, which was even, like, it was this week, sitting at 3 on the dot, minus 115 both ways. 100-1 for both the conference and the division, plus 10,000. I don't know, man. Are they going to rally around the interim, or are they going to be... We already thought they were going to be bad. I already thought Northwestern was going to be the worst team in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And now I feel like they're going to be even worse.
What is it Uncle Rico always brings up? They're one of 2 schools that don't have NIL. It's not like they were good last year. They lose the patriarch of Northwestern football, like the only person who's made Northwestern football relevant in the last 100 years. I'm not even sure we have to go into the schedule. I'm gonna say
under.
Let me see.
Go through the schedule and find me 3 wins. Find me 3 wins.
I can't. I'm actually going to be bold and say they run the table backwards, unvictorious.
Maybe they beat Howard.
Okay, 1-11.
Maybe they beat Howard. Yeah, I don't think they win a single goddamn game. It would be very classic Iowa to lose to them that part of the season. I'm still stand by that. But I don't see another win here.
No.
So I'm going to bet the under 3 at minus 115. I'm just going to take it. There you go, Northwestern. Yeah. That's all you get. We really don't need to say much about them. Purdue. So shout out. I was pulling the Uncle Rico a little bit last night. I was reading Phil Steele. Guess what? Didn't have anything on Purdue. The Purdue section, he just put Wisconsin on accident. Just an editing error. Just an editing error for the Purdue section. So their win total is set at 5.5, plus 135 on the over, minus 165 on the under. They're 100-1, plus 10,000 to win the conference, plus 1,800 to win the division. This team overhaul of, I don't know, man. They lose the Jeff Brom magic.
They lose. Who's their head coach now? I don't even remember.
It was Illinois' defensive coordinator.
Oh, that vaunted coaching prospect.
I mean, he's a good DC. I think he's like he's solid. I don't know.
I think it's hard times in West Lafayette this year. I don't have a lot of faith. I don't see a bowl game in their their future because they absolutely got zero favors done for them when they made the schedule. You get Ohio State bye game. That's nice, at least. Then you get a nice little Nebraska trap game before you go to Michigan.
Back-to-back away games there, too. Not only that, Chase, but let's just get into it because they're out of conference start the season. Fresno State at Virginia Tech and Syracuse. 2 Power 5s and then one of the best G5s in the country.
I think they might get Virginia Tech or Syracuse. One of them. I think it's more than likely Virginia Tech.
I think Syracuse at home, maybe. I don't know.
I'll give them a generous 1-2 there, but I could easily see that 0-3.
I'm gonna say 0-3 just because I feel better about all 3 of these teams than I do Purdue this year. I think Purdue maybe I don't know. The future's weird because of the whole shifting of the conference. Who knows what's going to happen to a bunch of these teams when it comes to win-wise. I got them starting 0-3, and then it's Wisconsin, Illinois for homecoming, and at Iowa. And Ohio State at home before the bye.
I'm not sure if I've got 1 win heading into the bye.
I got 0. If Purdue keeps their magic, if they keep their dealio, and Ohio State somehow is ranked 2, that Saturday, October 14th, then I will be betting Purdue.
By the way, I just want to say their stadium name, Ross-Aid. That sounds like a Gatorade bottle that has the label ripped off with a weird brownish green liquid in it. Hey, you want some Ross-Aid?
Dude, I was doing my research for this a little bit. I had forgotten that Purdue has the most wins all time versus the number 2 spot in the AP poll.
Against the 2-hole? They're all up in the 2 spot?
Against the ranked 2 teams, Purdue has the most wins of any program.
That's sure. If Michigan stays number 2, which I don't think they will, that would sure be embarrassing. But if they're still number 2, then I might,
So there's the bye week, and then it's at Nebraska, at Michigan.
I have 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got a 1 and 8 right now.
So I'm going to give a 50-50 at the Nebraska game, but I favor Nebraska, so I still have them at 0 wins. Minnesota at Northwestern, Indiana. 2 wins to end the season, baby. 2 wins.
2-1. On a good note to give you a little bit of hope for next year. Yeah, I've got them at 3 and 9. Let's see. I can't believe that they set this total so high.
5.5.
But there's a reason that it's juiced all the way to minus 165 because that is a ludicrous number.
Ludicrous. We're bring that back. Fucking crazy. Up next, Chase, the last team of the Big Ten West. It is your Wisconsin Badgers. Win total is set at 8.5, minus 160 on the over, plus 130 on the under, plus 750 to win the conference, plus.
It's weird though. Where he was at Cincinnati in Ohio, you have a lot of very localized talent. There's a lot of good players, football players in Ohio and in the Cincinnati area specifically. It's so much harder to recruit to Wisconsin. That's why it's always been such a big deal for them to bring people in and develop them. That's, turn walk-ons into J.J. Watts.
So I still think their defense will be great. I think losing Jim Leonard is big, but I think still a lot of the guys that you have this year, you won't see as big of a drop-off. So I still think the Wisconsin defense will be fantastic. It's always consistently really good. I think their run game will be good. Braylon Allen's still there. I like that. For me, the biggest factor and the biggest like question mark is how Tanner Mordecai does. He's like I don't know, maybe potentially the best quarterback Wisconsin's had since Russell Wilson.
Hands down.
Good. He was good at SMU.
Yeah, he was great at SMU.
Yeah.
My worry is that they try to get before that Luke Fickell can really rebuild this team. Is that they get too anxious to force the passing game to show, like, just so people in Wisconsin knows what it looks like when a football is thrown on a Saturday.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
that is the Phil Longo way. He likes to pass to set up the run. People might get really upset with this because people are used to a thing in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And I know this is a Nebraska fan because a lot of Nebraska fans are the same way. They don't like change. And
I'm going to invest in a bunch of red ass hats with "Run the damn ball" in white lettering, and we're going to make $1 million.
Gajillion dollars, Chase, because these people will be screaming it from the rooftops. So let's get into it. Buffalo at Washington State, and then Georgia Southern at Purdue, then the bye week.
You think one of them could get them, but honestly, I still think that they overmatch all four of these teams, and I've got them starting 4-0 just because they just have the horses in the stable, you know?
I agree, and there's no really like look ahead spots before the bye week. It is that you would worry about like a Georgia Southern.
Yep.
That would sneak up and get you. So I also have them going 4-0, and then it's Rutgers off the bye, Iowa at Illinois.
I've got them dropping the Rutgers game. They turn that loss into 2 losses at Iowa, and I think they pick off Illinois in the Burt Bowl because of how that game fits into Illinois' schedule.
I got them going 2-1 here in this stretch. I think they lose to Iowa.
1-2.
Then it's Ohio State at Indiana, Northwestern, Nebraska, and at Minnesota. I really only have them losing to Ohio State after that.
I've got them losing to Ohio State. I'll give Nebraska the win, and yeah, so I'll give them the win at Nebraska. No, yeah. I'll give them the win at Nebraska. Loss at Ohio State. Win in all the other ones. Though I am tempted to flip that to Minnesota. I'm going to flip to Minnesota in the finale. That's what I'm going to do.
I got them at 10-2.
1, 2, 3.
Sitting at 9-3, 8-4.
8-4.
I got them at 10-2. I think that Iowa game is basically playing for the division.
It could be. I don't know. I think that Iowa might have they might lock up the division a couple weeks before the end of the season.
Well, no, I think them, like, whoever wins that game, I think, is on the fast track to win the division.
Yeah, I forgot that it's right there in the middle of the season. Yeah. That now I sounded kind of dumb.
Chase, that's what this is why we need Eric here.
Yeah, he keeps us in track.
He keeps us saying, I'm not touching anything with Wisconsin, though. Because I like them. I like Iowa a little bit more. And it's the difference between plus 750 and plus 1100.
Right. And for the win total at 8.5, I've got them sitting right at 8. Plus 130 isn't enough for me to say that it's worth the shot.
No, you'd want to see like plus 150 or something at least.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, moving on to the East, Chase. The Indiana Hoosiers. They are sitting at a 3.5 point win total. Oh, my phone, you fucking bitch! Where was I? I got derailed there. Indiana 3.5, minus 170 on the over, plus 140 on the under. Chase, interesting fun fact. Plus 10,000, 100 to 1 to win the conference. Plus 30,000, plus 300 to 1 to win the division. Longer odds to win the division than the conference.
That's still weird to me that they do that. But, yeah, listen, they lost their Penix 2 years ago, and they've never been the same. They're a different version of the Headless Horseman, right? Because they lost their Penix.
Yes. Can I apologize to the Indiana fans out there? I did no research on Indiana. I'm sorry.
Why would you waste your time?
That's fair.
Yeah.
Um,
The good news for them is that they've got some fortunate non-con games.
they got a few decent ones. Let's just get into it. So they start the season with Ohio State at home. Great start there.
By 4 million. I think the last time I gave you a score, it was by 3 million. I'm continuing on that trend. 4 million.
It's going to be on CBS and Paramount Plus for those of you who care.
Eat my ass.
Eat shit and
services.
die. Eat shit and
Right.
die. Indiana State and then Louisville at Lucas Oil Stadium.
In the Larry Bird Bowl, because he went to both of these institutions.
Mm-hmm.
I went at Indiana State. I'm going to give them the dub against Louisville at Lucas Oil.
I am not. I'm going to have them starting 1 and 2 here. And then it's Akron at home and at Maryland before the bye week.
I'll give them the win at Akron. That's their 3. And it's going to be a hard rest of the season.
I got them at 2. It's going to be even harder for me. At Michigan, Rutgers, at Penn State. Boo, yippee, you get to play Rutgers. Yeah, it's sandwiched between the 2 fucking other toughest teams on your schedule.
Yeah, that makes that game so very losable. Because, 1, you're going to be very beat up after Michigan. I mean, you got a Rutgers team that, I mean, it's not like they're not feisty at times, you know? And I think they'll smell blood in the water. Because 1, they're going to be beat up. 2, they're not going to be focused because they have Penn State, Wisconsin, Illinois, all back to back to back.
Spoiler, I have them winning maybe one more game after the bye week.
What's the one?
Michigan State, maybe. If Michigan State is if they're torpedoing and just giving up on the season, I could see them falling to Indiana. No, True. Sorry, 2. I got them 2. They could beat Purdue.
Yeah.
I'll give them 2.
I don't think they could.
I think they could. I'm gonna give them 2 out of Rutgers, Illinois, Michigan State, and Purdue. Being nice. I didn't do any research. This is me giving back to the Indiana fans out there, Chase. I have them winning. So 2 and 2. I got them at 4. A very nice 4. I'm not touching that, and by not touching that, I'm still betting the under.
Yeah, I'm taking the under plus 140. It seems I got them at 3 wins. The 4th win seems very dicey. I think it's just as easily lose to
Akron too. They could so easily lose to Akron.
100%. If you're one of these teams, if you're a not even fair to middling, bottom half of middle to bottom team in your conference.
Oh, they're definitely bottom.
Don't fuck around and schedule MAC teams, Sun Belt teams, or Mountain West teams because you will get embarrassed on your
schedule CUSA teams
home turf. There you go, because some of those are really bad.
Also, Big Ten teams stop scheduling MAC teams because it's dangerous out there.
It's dangerous.
It's
a cold world.
So we're both on the under for Indiana. Up next, Maryland. I'm actually excited for Maryland this year. Win total, apparently so are the fucking odds makers. Win total set at 7.5 Chase, minus 115 both ways, plus 4,000 to win the conference, plus 7,500 to win the division. Make it make sense. I don't know.
It's if you put them in the Big Ten West, I think that they would be top contenders.
Oh, easily.
It's just tough when you have to play Ohio State and Michigan plus Penn State. The good news, though, is that other than the Nebraska game later in the schedule, they don't have any of these. They're not just loaded with sandwich spots where they have Ohio State, then a look ahead game, and then Michigan, and then a look ahead game, and then Penn State and a look ahead game. So it helps.
As far as a Big Ten East schedule goes, you really can't ask for much more than what Maryland's getting here.
Yeah.
I also think, obviously, I think Talia is going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the conference if he plays to his level.
I agree. I don't think there are any real superstar quarterbacks right now in the Big Ten per se.
Who fucking knows what Ohio State will? Ohio State can like trot a no name out there and he'll be a Heisman contender. It's so stupid.
Well, yeah,
it's so
yeah,
dumb.
but that's the thing about it is the reason I say that is that we don't know who the Ohio State quarterback will be. Like, there's no star power there yet. It's just they're gonna have to win games in October, but I mean, it's gonna be. They could. They start with Ohio State in October, but
I mean, it's not going to be a great start. But here we go. The September Maryland train will be full bore. Towson, Charlotte, Virginia, at Michigan State, and Indiana for the month of September.
Okay, win at Towson. They lose to the disrespected Biff Poggi.
Gotcha.
They win at Virginia. They win at Michigan State. They win at Indiana. I got them 4-1 heading into the Ohio State game.
I got them 5-0. They're going to be 5-0 going to Ohio State. I got them losing bad to Ohio State.
Keep disrespecting Biff Poggi, Jim.
I will.
Which Biff Poggi sounds like a crazy Polish pierogi dish. Or something.
I was going to say it sounded like a submarine sandwich. Like something you
the Biff. Yeah. Let me get the Biff Poggi with the red oil and vinegar.
Yeah, I'd get that every day of my life.
So I got them 4-1. They obviously lose the Ohio State game,
and then Illinois before the bye week. I got them. I don't know, man.
I'm gonna
give them the win, but
I'll be 5-2 heading into the bye game. The loss to Ohio State and the disrespected.
I'm gonna go 6-1. I'm gonna go 6-1 here. Although that Illinois game does scare me. At Northwestern, Penn State, at Nebraska, Michigan. So it's nice that you get your tough ones at home. But the fact that your tough ones are Penn State and Michigan, who are very much, in my opinion, like unwinnable, I'd almost rather these were flipped and you'd have Northwestern and Nebraska at home for the more winnable games.
Right.
I'm still going to give them wins at Northwestern and Nebraska, but I would have loved this much better if these were swapped.
It's a big-time trap spot at Northwestern. Too bad it's not a trap. There's no way. I think they cruise against Northwestern. I think they take their medicine a little bit against Penn State.
Penn State always just kicks the shit out of them.
Yeah. Then I'm going to say maybe they drop Nebraska and they give Michigan a game, but lose and then a win at Rutgers.
I think so too. I think they lose a close one against Michigan. Like a surprising end of the season close one when people are talking about Michigan playoff hopes and everything like that, and then they have like a stinker of a game against like a decent Maryland team, and everyone points to it and be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I'll tell you this: sitting at right now 8 wins, with meat and potatoes odds at -115 and the total set at 7.5. Though I do enjoy meat and potatoes odds, it's a don't touch because. We still have the history and track record of what this team does in October.
It's worrisome.
And you still, I mean, you're going to play a couple teams that after you play them, it's the Alabama factor kind of it. Like you still feel it for a couple weeks afterwards.
Dude, especially with how good these defensive fronts are supposed to be for all three of Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. They're all going to go crazy.
But they could easily break the October curse this year. Their schedule isn't terrible for who all they have to face being in their side of the conference. So it's a coin flip. Like it's not that we don't know anything. It's just that we don't know if they can beat the October thing.
I'm going to do the Uncle Rico thing and see if I can find odds to see if Talia would make it to New York. Futures to make playoffs.
If you end up somehow with like a 9-3, 10-2 Maryland team, including a signature win against either 1 or 2 of the big 3 from the East, then you will see Talia in New York, I think.
Oh, BetOnline doesn't even have Talia odds.
Cowards.
Big cowards. That doesn't make sense. I feel like he'd be up there.
I feel like you got to put every single quarterback of a Power 5 conference in the mix. Like, you have to offer something, right?
They got Tanner fucking Mordecai.
Because, for one, you're just missing the opportunity to just take money from people. Like, people like me who will drop something on KJ Jefferson to win the Heisman this year.
Chase,
you know?
that's just you're willing that to happen. 120 to 1
for Talia
for the Heisman. So his odds to probably make it to New York must be crazy too. I'll throw something on there.
I would throw something on him
make to New York. Yeah, making it to New York. I'll do that. So I'll pencil that in somewhere where I can find it. Up next, this is Chase's favorite team.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have Maryland on here twice. I can't believe I forgot that. Chase, I respect them so much I didn't even make a schedule for them. It's the Michigan Wolverines, everybody. Win total set at 7.5, minus 135 on the over, plus 105 on the under, plus 175 to win the conference, plus 120 to win the division. Chase, this is your defending champion, two-time defending Big Ten champion, the Michigan Wolverines.
This is a definite play, the under 10.5. There's no way that they go through the season only losing one game. No fucking way. You're going to have an emotionally charged Michigan State game. You don't know what is going on with their coach. The fact that I think they're chronically overrated. If you tell me that they're rated just right because they make it to the playoff, tell me what's happened in those playoffs the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, even Ohio State looked way better against Georgia.
Yeah,
last year.
You know, I don't. I think it's ludicrous. I rated number 2, and we talked about it, where I don't think they could beat 1, 2, or 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6 head to head.
I don't know, dude. I think this team's really good. I think their defensive front's good. I just don't think the issue with me with Michigan, similar to last year, they don't have a game-changing quarterback. That, like, if their game plan goes awry, which obviously, like, it did versus TCU, which it will probably this year against Penn State and Ohio State, I don't know if they have a guy at quarterback who can take over a game.
They have, what's his name, like JJ something?
JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
I think he's fine. I think J.J. McCarthy is good to decent. And I think their running backs are great. I think their offensive line is fantastic. I think their defensive front is good to great. I just don't, like... I think the same thing about Penn State and Ohio State. Like, I think Ohio State's offensive and defensive lines are great. I think Ohio State has a great running back. I think the same thing with Penn State. The unknown at quarterback for both those versus the known quantity of J.J. McCarthy, I feel like Michigan is probably a 10-win team.
I could see them bumbling and dropping 3. I could see them losing to Penn State and Ohio State. I could see them and then dropping another random game. I do think that they're on upset alert at Nebraska because I don't think that John Harbaugh doesn't know how to not blow his John Harbaugh wad, like, because if they're 4-0 headed into Nebraska, right, exactly. And so if they're 4-0 headed into Nebraska, then I don't expect him to have the right level of chill, especially if he's been suspended. Like, and he's just been like, he's like a racehorse in the gate, just ready to go, just like pissing and foaming at the mouth. And I think he fucks it up.
So that's the other thing with Michigan. And it's like, I can kind of understand where Michigan fans are coming from. You've been trying to get to this level for a long time, get over the Ohio State hump. And then they get to the playoffs. But they talk so much shit for a team like them.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't.
Yeah.
Just don't. And I feel like if they didn't talk all the shit, I like Jim Harbaugh and his craziness. I like his antics. I don't give a shit. But the way that this fan base sometimes and the players even talk makes me very much on the side of a fucking Georgia, and it's just it makes me hate myself.
Here's the thing is like I think that if John Harbaugh was at another school, I'd actually still like John Harbaugh. I liked him when he was at Stanford. I liked him just fine when he was the coach of the fucking 49ers. But it's getting into Michigan into like full blown Bo Schembechler back at my college cult mode. Like I hate it when people who went to a school only talk about that time at their school that they went to.
And maybe it's just a Michigan thing, but I feel like they have a very much holier than thou attitude. And
they do, and
stop it.
They're starting to recruit better nationally, but listen, you're not the same Michigan that had Detroit and Flint and Dearborn, hopping with like people and jobs and like.
I bet
talent.
they can go crazy with NIL though.
Yeah.
And like the alumni base is crazy, so like I feel like they'll do fine. But I just like they have out of all the teams that are at this supposed like playoff level, they're the most holier than thou, and they haven't shown it when they need to.
Yeah, and all they've done is they've gotten invited to the party and gotten their ass kicked.
Yeah, losing to TCU and getting absolutely obliterated by Georgia. Congratulations, any team. Michigan State did that.
Right.
Like, come on here. I don't know. It's McCarthy, and like this team is really good. I just don't know. Like, I don't know, man. 10-2 is probably the right answer. I think they split Penn State and Ohio State probably, but I don't know how. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go ahead because
East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green, Rutgers. I also this shit. Michigan has now jumped on the train of scheduling fucking cupcakes, doing nothing to start the season. Obviously, they're going to be 4-0.
I think UNLV might like kind of shock them to their senses, but they'll be 4-0. Yes.
And then it's at Nebraska, at Minnesota, Indiana, at Michigan State.
I think they go 3-1 here, and it's either Nebraska or Michigan State.
I think they go another 4-0 here. I think Michigan State's close. I think it's chippy, but I think Michigan pulls away in the second half. Off the bye week.
If they beat all those teams off the bye week, then I think
Purdue.
it's upset alert at Purdue.
Because they'll be number 2 then.
Right.
Dangerous. Purdue, at Penn State, at Maryland, Ohio State. So here's my thing with Michigan. I don't know, man. I got them losing 1. I got them 11-1, 10-2. The crazy thing is, I think it might be Maryland. It might be like the sandwich of all sandwiches. I think they beat Penn State, lose to Maryland, and then maybe beat Ohio State.
I'm going to say 8-4. I think they end the season with 3 consecutive losses: Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State.
So are you preemptively saying Michigan most disappointing team of 2023?
Hands down. To start at number 2?
If they're 8-4, maybe not even ranked with this schedule.
Yeah. No, they'll be ranked because they're Michigan.
They are Michigan. They'll be ranked like 23rd or something like that.
No, they'll be like 12 at 8-4 because they're Michigan. Because everyone's so anxious for fucking Michigan.
Fuck it.
Ugh. Gross.
I'm not betting this at all. I assume you are very comfortably on the under.
Yeah, plus money. Give it to me.
Michigan State. I can't believe Uncle Rico's not here to just shit all over Michigan State, Chase. I can't believe it.
Right.
Win total set at 5.5, plus 160 on the over, minus 200 on the under, plus 7,500 to win the conference, plus 10,000, 100 to 1 to win the division. Dude, Mel Tucker.
This fucking schedule is all gas, no brakes, too. You can tell they made this schedule a couple of years ago when they had a good season with Mel Tucker, and they're like, yeah, let's start bringing in the big boys so we can be ready for the playoff. Oh God, like. Bringing Washington to town, I think Central Michigan could be a spot. Yeah. So I'm going to say they start 1-4, quite honestly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, to open up the season, I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be very nice, very giving. I'm gonna go 2-3. I'm gonna give them the win versus Central.
They
I'm gonna
could
do
they
it.
could easily they're likely 2-3. They could easily be 1-4.
They could easily be 1-4 here. Off the
Yeah.
bye week, it's at Rutgers, Michigan, at Minnesota.
I will give them the win at Rutgers.
Off the bye week. Oh God. Yeah, I'm gonna give them the win at Rutgers. That's a sandwich spot for Rutgers between at Wisconsin and at Indiana. So I'm gonna give that to Sparty there. And then it's Nebraska at Ohio State, at Indiana, Penn State. I only got them beating Indiana on the rest of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a brutal schedule. That is absolutely brutal.
At best, 4 wins. Maybe they could exceed that and get to 5. I don't see any shot this team getting to 6.
What game? By what game is Mel Tucker fired?
I don't think he's fired. The contract is crazy. I guess Big Ten money is insane. Okay. After Michigan. If they get blown out by Michigan, he's done probably. Like if it's a blowout and like it's embarrassing again, like where they're fighting and stupid shit like that, he's done.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, they're going to fight.
They're going to fight. But if it's like Michigan State starting it and it's an all-out brawl, because you know it's going to be like heightened security and all that.
Right.
It's going to be must-watch TV.
But Michigan State also has an actual stadium with 2 tunnels. So they don't have to, because they don't have a big over-regarded palace that only has 1 tunnel and likely none of the amenities that people need. Fuck you, Michigan. That's the main takeaway of this entire show.
I don't think Michigan State's going to be very good. Up next, Chase, it is the Ohio State Buckeyes. Win total is set at 10.5, minus 115 both ways, plus 160 to win the conference, plus 110 for the division. Guess what? Ohio State's going to have I don't care who they trot out back there. They'll be fine at quarterback. They have good receivers. They have great running backs. This team is going to be great. That's Ohio State.
Yeah. They take... Hold on. Do they still have Marvin Harrison Jr.? Was he in the draft this year?
Let me look it up real quick.
I can't remember if he was like a year away from draft eligible or if he went pro.
No, he's back.
So they don't need to reload. They don't have to reload at wide receiver as much as they used to. It's like Uncle Rico likes with a,
they have a definite
alpha
number 1
wide
guy,
receiver. Yeah, chain mover. I think.
Thank you for saying it. We need someone to say chain mover in every show.
True. Also, I didn't know it was possible for me to hate a team more than Ohio State, but here comes Michigan. Just,
all
where have
it
you been?
took was Michigan being good.
No, I mean, I still don't think they're good. Honestly,
I don't know, man. I think consistently winning the Big Ten and the Big Ten East.
They made the
team.
playoff. They made the playoffs, but I don't call them.
I don't know. I think they're good. I just think Georgia's different. They're built different.
Yeah. I think TCU is built on an
magical.
TCU is built on an assembly line with in China. Like there's
So okay, going back to Michigan, Ohio State. You're welcome that we're talking about Michigan when we're talking about you. A more embarrassing playoff loss for Michigan: the Georgia blowout or the TCU loss. It's tough. It's tough. I think
it's TCU because people they were favored against TCU,
and you saw what Georgia did.
Yeah. Like they got that, but like you said, they're built different. They are not of this world. In terms
it would have been way more embarrassing if Ohio State would have beaten Georgia.
It would have been horribly embarrassing if Ohio State had beaten Georgia. Yeah. I think the TCU thing is definitely because they were getting shellacked for a lot of it. and they weren't supposed to be. I mean, TCU had team of destiny had that horseshoe up their ass, but no, man, that
they were so
especially
much
because
smaller. They were so much smaller up front. They were getting Michigan offensive and defensive line players were getting pushed around by TCU players.
yeah, dude, yes, and I think like the most diehard and dirty, disgusting homers of Michigan were like, "Fuck yeah, we're gonna beat Georgia," when most of the fans were like, "Oh,
we want to put up a fight."
Yeah, with TCU, they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna fuck up TCU," and that didn't happen. Let's talk Ohio State.
Let's talk Ohio State. So this team, okay. So my analysis for Ohio State is the same every year. Sorry for people who want in-depth analysis this episode. Guess what? They reload. They're Ohio State. They're one of like 3 or 4 programs in the country that can reload every year.
Yeah, you've got a national recruiting base. They've pulled kids out of here, out of North Little Rock, Arkansas. Like they can get whoever they want. And I think a lot of it is because they cheat, but cheating is legal now. So, yes. I mean, what's to say that something stops them from being in the conversation for the playoff
and
in perpetuity.
And unlike Michigan, they at least do one fun out of conference every year. Like, remember when they got trounced by Oregon?
Yeah. Oh, God. We called it, too.
Yeah,
no, Leo called it.
Leo called it. That's true.
Leo was the one who called it. Yeah.
Like, they do one fun one every year. This time it's Notre Dame. So they're scheduled before the bye week at Indiana, Youngstown State, Western Kentucky, at Notre Dame.
I think I really want Notre Dame to break through, but I don't think that this is the year. I think that they start off 4-0.
I also think they start off 4-0. And then it's Maryland, at Purdue, Penn State.
Man, their schedule is so
cake.
Put together for them.
It's so cake.
I think that they are still undefeated. I'm going to say that this is the year Penn State breaks through.
I'm right there with you. I think they lose to Penn State.
Yeah. This is it. Like, I think that's the
that's
one.
it for me too. Because it's at Wisconsin, at Rutgers, Michigan State, Minnesota, and at Michigan. I think Ohio State's only loss is Saturday, October 21st, to the Penn State Nittany Lions. James Franklin gets her done. The second longest tenured coach in the Big Ten.
Amazing. Amazing. I'm gonna say, yeah, I'll go. Meat and potatoes over 10.5. It's so. Yeah, honestly. They could be undefeated. They
They very easily could be undefeated.
Minus 115 for over 10.5 feels like found money, like in the street.
I'll do it. Yeah. Up next, the Penn State Nittany Lions. Win total is set at 9.5, minus 150 on the over, plus 120 on the under there, plus 550 to win the conference, plus 400 to win the division. Chase, how much does losing Sean Clifford hurt, and is it really that much at all?
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that Penn State is going to be a team. It seems like they've kind of turned into a Wisconsin light, though they can throw the ball a little bit. That they are a little bit of a running back university now, because I mean you put out Saquon Barkley followed by Miles Sanders. You just it's like how people who are rich and have money, like their money just makes money for them. Like I think that's going to kind of what it is with like running back recruiting for them.
Also, I feel like if Uncle Rico were here, I think if he's following Phil Steele a little bit, I think Phil Steele called this one of his top 3 defensive backfields in the entire country.
Insanity. Yeah. And I think that's why that's going to give them a shot to actually finally get over the hump against Ohio State.
Yes. I think this is the year, and I think it comes down to, I think we'll know when it gets to that game, because both of these quarterbacks are kind of unknown. We don't know a lot about, like, production-wise. The only known out of the big 3 is J.J. McCarthy. He's whatever. But there's a lot of unknown here, so it kind of falls on his shoulders. But the running back Penn State has, the offensive, defensive lines are nuts. I think they're going to be a great team. I'm going to maybe bet them to make the playoffs. I might do it, Chase.
I'm for it. I feel I don't want to bet Ohio State. I don't want to bet Michigan to win the East. Like they'll be a conference, a division and conference play for me.
So here are my 2 bets. To make the playoffs, they're plus 375, but to win the Big Ten, they're plus 550. I'd rather just take the win the Big Ten, because they're not making the playoffs if they don't win the conference. They don't have that kind of recognition.
They're not.
I don't know if Penn State has the clout to not win the Big Ten and still make the playoffs.
That's a huge institution, man. It's still got. Listen, there was some unfortunate things happened in the past that kind of took a little bit of that clout away, but they still
have there been
great.
Have there only been 2 teams that have done it? Is it just Alabama and Ohio State? To not win your conference and still make the playoffs?
Pretty certain, yeah.
I think those are that's the level you got to be at.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. You know what? That's fair.
Yeah. So here we go, Penn State, West Virginia, Delaware, at Illinois, Iowa, at Northwestern before the bye.
5-0.
5-0. 5-0. That West Virginia game might be fun to for the pregame. Right. UMass at Ohio State, Indiana at Maryland.
4-0.
Maybe losing to Ohio State, but I got them. Yeah, and then it's Michigan, Rutgers at Michigan State.
They'll trip up one place there. They'll trip up one place there. They'll end up 11-1, just like Ohio State, and they'll get there on the head-to-head tiebreaker.
They're gonna. It's gonna be at Maryland then. Maybe Maryland gets the one. Maryland gets the revenge.
Yeah, I'm for it.
I'm gonna say 11-1. I mean, I would bet the over, but whatever. Now I am taking Penn State at plus 550 to win the Big Ten. That is my future bet.
Yeah, between them and my other from the West, that's the play.
We gotta get one in each. So we got Iowa in the West and Penn State in the East. Chase, it's the granddaddy of them all to finish it off. It is Rutgers University, the University of Rutgers, the Fighting Greg Schianos, the Golden Guido. Win total is set at 4, minus 115 each way. They are plus 10,000, 100-1 to win the conference. No odds on the division. I'll look again while you're talking, but I didn't see any odds on Rutgers.
Yeah, we were saying it's like to take that action at the window at the sports book, like the girl in the suspenders has to go and talk to somebody to okay it for you to drop $10 on Rutgers to win because it might break the old sports book. As much as I am a fan of Greg Schiano and Knuckles Nunzio, even if he's not still the offensive coordinator, like in my mind, someone named Nunzio coaching for Rutgers and Greg Schiano is just kind of how things should be. So yeah, man, it's gonna be tough. I'm looking at the schedule, and it's tough. even Temple might be a tough game.
So the thing I have for Rutgers, I got 2 notes. Can Wimsatt stay healthy? If he can, I think they'll be a really good team. I think Rutgers won't win a ton of games, but I think they might cover a bunch of games.
Yeah, I think they might be all-stars in that regard, and also just because of where they're falling in people's schedules. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed that? Like they are trap games for about 8 or 9 of the contending teams in the Big Ten this year. That's insane. It's a good spot for them. It's
going to be nuts. I think Rutgers might be a team that I target very often this season against the spread. Let's get to the schedule. Hey, they start with Northwestern. Hey,
so you know what? I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna go 2-0 to start.
Northwestern and Temple. I'm also gonna go 2-0 here, and then it's Virginia Tech.
You know what? Let's go 3-0.
I'm also going 3-0, Chase, and then they play at Michigan.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Sorry for your luck there. Put some ice on it.
Then it's Wagner win, and then it's at Wisconsin, Michigan State, at Indiana.
I'm not sure if they get a win after Wagner, quite honestly.
Shout out Rutgers. I got them beating both Michigan State and Indiana.
Got them beating Michigan State and Indiana.
Yes,
man, they're flirting with bowl eligibility. Then they're right out bowl eligibility.
I think Rutgers makes bowl eligibility before bye week. Yeah, hot take. That's my hot take for the Big Ten
for the bye. Talk about maybe just wanting to like not come home from vacation post bye week.
Yeah, because I don't think they win a single game after that. Ohio State, at Iowa, at Penn State, Maryland. No, thank
Yeah,
you.
that is a brutal 3-game stretch, and yeah, I mean, I think they hit the bye week, and then they're just like,
I think they just take the rest of the season off. Get everyone healthy for your bowl game, and then you're good.
that is your Super Bowl. Let's go Rutgers at over 4 wins, meat and potatoes minus
I'm on it.
I want it just to say I had it.
Chase, what do we got for your bets? What do we got for your totals here?
Oh, let's see. I haven't been keeping track very well.
I can do mine first if you want.
Do that.
Okay, I am on the Illinois.
Scrolling to the eyes.
I am on the Illinois to win the Big Ten West at plus 600. I'm on Iowa to win the conference at 11-1. Because I think if they make it, they got a shot. They can upset somebody. I'm on Minnesota under 7 at minus 115. My heart has brought me to Nebraska over 6.5 at plus 120. I'm on Northwestern under 3 at minus 115. That's it for the West. I am on Indiana under 3.5 at plus 140. I am on Maryland over 7.5 at minus 115. I'm going to do it. I am on Ohio State
you
over
tell
10.5.
Uncle Rico's not here because how many futures we have.
Oh, I have this many every time. I don't know what you're talking
That's
about.
true.
I'll bring
That's
it
true.
out. I'm on Ohio State over 10.5 minus 115. I'm on Penn State to win the Big Ten at plus 550, and I am on Rutgers over 4 at minus 115.
Let's see. I'm still putting them all together. All right. We'll call it after I add one more. There it is. Okay. My conference futures are the same as you. They're Iowa and Penn State. My totals, we got the under on Illinois.
I think that's the only one that we're against each other on.
Okay. I'm on the under with Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the under's taker again. I'm on the under with Michigan. I'm on the over with Minnesota. I am on the over with Nebraska. Under with Northwestern. Over with Ohio State. And over with Rutgers.
Boom, everybody. That'll do it for the Big Ten preview of the college football tailgate. Chase, is there anything you'd like to shout out at the end of this wonderful show?
Oh, let's see. I've got my horse racing podcast, The Notorious OTB. Had a little vacation with the family last week and back doing it again. Just put out a new episode today. If you're into Canadian ponies, me and JD Fox just did an episode previewing Sundays. It's not the Queen's Plate anymore, the King's Plate Stakes at Woodbine in Toronto. And it's Alabama week at Saratoga, the Alabama Stakes. Other than that, I do my tip sheets. I'm with this big galoot, the whole Buffalo over here.
Woodbine is one of 3 racetracks I've actually been to.
You've been to Woodbine Mohawk. It's
oh, that's right. Where's the actual Woodbine? In the
real
city?
I mean, it's in this. It's still it's around there, I think. But
that's
yeah,
right.
it's Woodbine Mohawks. The harness track's a little bit different.
That's right. That's one of the 3 I've been to. Not the nicest.
Yeah, harness tracks kind of have that reputation.
It's all good. Y'all know where to find me at XFL Jim. Big stuff coming up. The day you're watching this, actually, the night that you're watching this, is the return, the comeback of Chef Jim. Cooking with Jim is back Thursday night, 9 p.m. Central. Be there.
What's on the menu?
It is a special salmon dish. Let me look up my bookmarks real quick because I got them here.
Salmon?
We're getting a little salmon up in there. Let me see. Salmon.
I can't wait for you to have sloppy knife work so I can make salmon rushdie bean stab jokes.
I can't fucking find it. Either way, it's a salmon dish with a wine sauce. It's going to be fancy. It's going to be very fun. I might get wine drunk. Tune in Thursday night, 9 p.m. after this stream. We love you. And we'll see you guys next week for the SEC preview for the college football tailgate.